Hi everyone, I'm here with my oldest daughter Marissa.
Hey.
Today we're coming to you to talk about what it's like to be multiracial and growing up in society that is just so curious about it. There's a new term that is called ethnically ambiguous. I was born in 75, so these terms and terminology, it's great and I love it because you feel like they're trying to fit you in somewhere, but at the same time I find it somewhat amusing because we just didn't have that, so it is what it is. I though am Mexican, Cherokee Indian, Irish, and German, and you are
All of those things, and I am also Black and Chinese.
from her father.
Yes.
So we're going to just discuss in our own personal experiences a few pros and a few cons of being mixed. Because they might be different. Each person takes it in their own stride and in their own way. For me, growing up, my community was, I would say, 99.9% white. Nothing wrong with that. Great. But that was I would consider a pro and a con. When I was younger, I didn't see any difference. It wasn't until I got older that when people look at you a certain way, you want to just you feel led to put yourself in a category. So it was great that I didn't see a difference, but it was also bad that when I didn't know where I belonged. I think another pro would be that I knew I was different. It wasn't, and I don't know why, but that always made me feel good. Not that I stood out or wanted to stand out or something, but it was something that made me, different than everybody else. And I took that as a pro. I took that as a positive. So probably another positive is I always got to relate and actually claim so many different cultures. And for me to study them, whether the language or the cultures, the habits, whatever it was, really was pretty cool to me actually, and it still is. And I can relate in a way to every last one of them. Of course, another con would be the questions. What are you? Where did you come from? And for me personally, especially when my hair is curly, are you sure you're not Black? Yes, I'm pretty sure. I've had the blood work done. I don't know why people think that it's okay to come up to you. Personally, I've just embraced it and I own it. I'm like, I know what you're going to ask and you're not even having to open your mouth. So I take it all in stride, but it does get a little tiresome. Another con is I was taught not to ever see color. You acknowledge someone of the race or races they are and move on. You judge someone by their actions towards you personally, of their character, morals, and standards. And that's how I was raised. So that's how I raise my children, and that's how I judge other people. And I feel being mixed, people cannot get past the fact of you're so exotic looking, which is another one that just cracks me up. And when you just want to fit in, like you're taught for your brains, your talents, your gifts that God has given you, or value for what you have to say, because you do have a brain and you're not just this crazy exterior of a shell of a person. To me, that's what I still struggle with. That is the only con. People judge you and they think you're going to be a certain way before you even open your mouth. And that is not the case. So that kind of for me is in a nutshell. What about you?
For me, I think that growing up, I had a hard time, although you did try to instill in Michaela and I, self-love and things of that sort, I had a hard time loving who I was because of the kids at school and things like that. I didn't, talking about not knowing where you belong, I really did not know where I belonged because the Black girls didn't really like me.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
They didn't really like me. And I remember being in the 7th grade and there was this group of Black girls that I was down to be friends with. I was down to be friends with anyone and everyone, and I was distraught when they didn't want to be my friend. But we're getting off topic.
Cons. You're on cons.
Yes. Yes. But basically, there was this group of girls, and I remember in the 7th grade, there was this incident where they were bullying me in the hallway, and they were pushing me, and one of the girls grabbed my hair which was straight at the time, and put it in the locker. She put it in the locker and then slammed it shut. And then she was like, you think you're so pretty because you've got hair. You think you're better than us because you've got hair. And I'm like, well, I didn't do anything. No. I mean, at the time, all I did was cry. But, like, I did not do anything to make them feel that way. In fact, and nothing but try to be their friends, which... So there was that side,
a good thing, apparently.
And then there was a side of, you know, I guess like the white side, you know, that didn't necessarily accept me as I mean, I fit in more with them, but I didn't feel like I was one of them. Does that make sense?
Did you feel that way because you were different? Whereas I knew all my friends were Caucasian, it never made me feel different. I just knew I fit in because these group of people, and it's not like I didn't have any people of color friends, it just there weren't that many, but it's a choice that I was trying to instill in you that you will be different, especially if your friends are majority Caucasian, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't feel like you, not because they didn't make you feel like you didn't belong, but it's also because you obviously stand out.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
It's a mix. It's a mixture because it's a mixture of both because, I mean, I don't know. I was very insecure. And, you know, when it comes to my hair, oh my gosh, I hated my curly hair. I hated it. I hated it. I fried it for that reason. But I didn't like the way people would I didn't like people pointing me out.
Yes.
And singling me out. And, you know, like, why is your hair so big? And blah, blah, blah. And some people were not necessarily being mean about it. I still didn't like it, but they weren't being mean about it. And then there were people that were mean about it, which made me even more insecure when it got brought up.
And Caucasians did that to you, so you kind of fell on the fence. I did not have that problem. My hair it's not that, it's ringlets of curls normally, but I did not. The only thing that bothered me is people think they could put their hands on you and rub your hair and pet you like you're a dog. Or is that all yours? All of it is mine. All of it is hers. I had adults do that to me in front of her. The principal of the school. Not cool. That's probably a con that I know that always bothered you.
Yeah, people just like come up and touch you in the middle of the mall and you're just like, hi, can I help you? Like, I am a person. We all have bubbles. Like, personal space goes out the window.
Respect the personal space.
Yeah, but
like, you've mentioned a couple cons of not fitting in and definitely getting bullied, which I totally can relate to. But what are some, pros? Do you have any? Because
we're talking about growing up or now?
Period. Okay. Just being mixed.
Right now?
Growing up. You can't name one.
You just said period.
Can you name one growing up? Because I'm like,
pro.
I feel like a mother.
The good attention that I got. I liked the good, positive attention. Not like, I hope that doesn't come across wrong.
I'm good. I'm kind of questioning, so maybe elaborate.
As bad as I felt about myself, I did feel good when there were those people who were like, you're beautiful because of all of the things that make you you. And
you realize a lot of the hate that you got was their insecurities and jealousy because you are so beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, I already know. Well, I don't have to be your mom and know that. I've lived it myself. I still live it. And just because the sad thing is the older you get, the game and the issues do not change. You get insecure little girls that turn into insecure young women that turn into insecure older women. And that is just amazing and sad to me.
Yeah, it's sad.
So what is another con or another pro for you?
A pro growing up for being of mixed race is
wow.
When I was in the between stage, when I was like in my teens, I definitely appreciated it more. I appreciated the fact that I had the hair that I had. Eventually I got to that point where I was like over it and I loved me. And I also grew into just loving myself for my skin tone, and
that's good.
Yeah.
Would you change it? And what would you change it?
I wouldn't change a lot of things that I went through and a lot of the things that I had, because I had to learn lessons, you know what I mean, that molded me into the person that I am right now. And right now, where I am in life is I love who I am, and I love every, part that makes me who I am. And
that's what everyone strives to do.
Yeah. Side note.
Side note.
That's
kind of how your mind works.
Yes, it is actually.
Yeah.
Dun, dun. But anyways, I was also thinking, growing up, there was always seemed to be this competition that was going on between the mixed girls.
Oh, I didn't have that problem. I was the only one.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's only a few that at least
I'm curious to...
But what I'm saying is, it was always who had the lightest skin of the mixed girls, because lighter skin was prettier. I lost in that department, which is totally fine. At the time it wasn't. But anyways, who had, the whitest features, but was black. And so much hate was being spread between, the community, if you can call it that, of mixed girls in the school that I went to and stuff. And it was just I never got it. I was like, oh, I love your eyes. Because, having lighter eyes is also lighter features.
It was also one of her issues where she battled growing up. I did not battle. And I think that is because although I was there for you, your father and I probably more relatable support system. My parents are not mixed. So, but you battled because your spirit and who you are, you're more sensitive than I am. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And to speak of this competition amongst mixed girls or biracial, multiracial females, I lived that with her. She was bullied a lot. She was judged a lot. And normally because she had a good spirit about her, she was a weak vessel, they thought, that they could attack. And that's the one that boggles my mind the most to this day is people of mixed races battle each other for the attention for these judges over the color of your skin, the texture of your hair, how light are your eyes, how big or small are your lips. And it is crazy. So I totally understand where you're coming from, but, but you wouldn't change anything.
No, I wouldn't. Not a single bit.
And why is that? What have you learned as you've gotten older and gotten out? Well, branched out.
Yeah. I think really, honestly, it was just, a lot of it had to do with coming to California. Immediately after, literally within the first few days of us being here, I got so many compliments and people were praising me for the way that I looked, and I'm like, hold on, what is going on? I'm like, these were all bad things back home, and it was it
blew your mind.
My mind. It really did leave me speechless. I was like, so wait, this is good? This is pretty? This part of me is, my nose is okay. It's not too big.
Hey, it's my nose.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying though. Coming out to California, seeing other people who look like me, not exactly like me, but you know what I mean? Who, seeing all the diversity that California has to offer, it really opened my eyes and was like, you know what?
You're good.
I'm
the
okay.
way you are.
Yeah, I'm more than okay.
I would have to say that I'm very glad that I could give that to my kids. I always knew, so I wanted them to see that and that diversity, that they're really not that different. Obviously, they're not different because they're human beings, but everything that makes them them, as far as ethnicities, there are millions of you out there. And where I was the only one growing up, and because I graduated from the same school she went to, and she graduated from there too, and the diversity from my time to her time, and the literally 20 years difference, huge. But it's still a tiny little pocket of the world. So I guess what I want to say is to anyone out there that is struggling with their identity, it's not all encompassing on the ethnicities and the blood that runs through your veins.
And if you've got daughters who are of mixed race and they do have a hard time, and you can see them having a hard time loving themselves, I can't stress to you enough, nurture it as much as you possibly can so that they can love themselves. I love, have you seen those commercials that they've started putting on about curly hair?
Yes.
And just black girl magic, and not just black people, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
They're embracing all of the things that made me not like myself growing up, and I love that. So,
and I had none of that. So I'm also glad that they are expressing commercials and just characters on TV or whatever in a multiracial environment where the couples are of mixed races. But I want to encourage you to branch out of your little bubble. If you live in a community where you're predominantly a different race, or the only, like me, the only multi or mixed one, branch out to the internet, to TV. At least you have those things right now, and know that like the world is a giant place. Where we come from in Indiana, we are a rarity, but here in California, New York, all these other states and countries of the world, you're not different. And there are many of people like you that are mixed, and it's okay. But above even that, I want to encourage you to truly embrace yourself and love yourself, like Marissa said, because it does start from within. So first off, know that you're not alone. Know that you're not an oddity and just some kind of, little freak of nature, as literally I've been called. But, and just remember that the world is a big place, and you were put here for a reason. And the blood that runs through your veins is what you are, and only a part of who you are. Do you have any last words?
just love yourself. And I know we've said that so many times, and I it's so much easier said than done sometimes, especially for young people of mixed race, not just girls but boys too. Yeah, like just I can't stress it enough. Like, it was hard. I know sometimes it's hard.
And I tell you, there's days that it's still hard at my age, but it's okay. It's okay. Surround yourself with those people that encourage you, uplift you, and support you, and truly remember that God makes no mistakes. And all I can say is live your life out loud and go out there and attack it and see all the wonders of the world. And you will understand when I say what you are, honestly, is not that rare. And that's in a good way. I'm not meaning that negative. I hope you take it like I mean it.
You're basic.
Yeah,
no.
That's not what I'm saying totally at all.
Yeah.
So I want to encourage you both. We'll just stop there.